Hey, Daryl here. Let's take a quick walk through the new Marchex Spotlight website. First, you'll log in using app.marchex.io. Once you log in, you should land on your dashboard. Looks like this. Now, let me tell you ahead of time that this is all of Big O, so these numbers are going to be a lot bigger than what you're going to see in your own dashboard for your own store. First of all, let me start by telling you that the system automatically defaults to the last 7 days. So the numbers that you're looking at are representative of the last 7 days. Now we can change that if we like using this filters button. We can open that up and we can change the time frame to month to date or even a date range if you'd like. Apply the filter and then your numbers will change accordingly. So what are we looking at right here? We're looking at, for the last 7 days, that we as a company, and again your store would be different, but as a company, we saw 70,000 or heard 70,138 calls. And this tells us that 15.5% versus the previous 7 days. So we're up over the previous 7 days in comparison. That's good to hear. Next is the failed call rate. We're going to talk more about failed calls here in just a minute, but we can see the numbers here right in front of us. 17.6% as opposed to 39.5% in the previous 7 days. So seeing that number come down is a very good thing. And last, we see how we're doing according to company target. So the company target set at 10%. We're actually at 7.6, which is good. We'd love to see that number be lower, but we're below that company target, and that's a good thing to see. Down here in the body, you'll see a little bit of some things broken out. So we'll see some of the top performers, and it shows the top performers, the company versus all of TBC franchise. It shows the owners. So each of the owners, you'll be able to compare yourselves from a top performer standpoint, and then the stores themselves. So you can, again, compare to maybe your sister store down the street or some of your other peers. Then we have areas of concern. So this would be basically the same list, but from the bottom. So this is where we're seeing some guys, some people in some stores that are struggling with the failed call rates. And we're going to talk again about what failed calls are, and that might answer some of these questions. Okay, so now we go to the failed call reasons. So we'll click on that. Basically, a failed call is constituted by either unanswered, IVR, voicemail abandoned, or hold transfer abandoned. So in those particular cases, there was a voicemail that answered the phone and somebody hung up during that voicemail or that IVR system. Or somebody hung up during a hold, on hold, or the hold transfer, which is when the Marchex recording comes on and transfers over to a phone, the phone call, and somebody decided not hanging on anymore. So if that happens to happen, then we're seeing that in the transfer abandoned. The most of what we're seeing when it comes to failed calls is unanswered. So we've really got to start looking at ourselves and looking at our stores and saying, why are so many calls going unanswered? Because this system is set up to only look at the hours of operation between 7 and 6, I think. I'd have to go back and double check that, but it's 7 and 6 or 8 and 6, one or the other. I think we'll see that on the next slide. But you can see that 17.6 failed calls. 80% of the calls that came in were actually getting a conversation, which is good, but we need to improve upon that. So last, we can actually see where those failed calls are coming from, what dates and what times. So first of all, I see that Wednesday is my worst culprit when it comes to failed calls. In fact, there's a nice statement up here. The most failed calls occurred at Wednesday between 11 and 12, 10 and 11, and 12 and 1. So we know that Wednesday is a culprit, and we can scroll down here and we can see that 6,000 of those failed calls happened on Wednesday, and we can see the hours. So it is between 7 and 6, the hours between 7 and 6. So the 7 o'clock hour, the 8 o'clock hour, so on and so forth. So 10, 11, and 12, that's our biggest problem area on Wednesdays. Why is that? So as a franchise owner or as a store manager that is in charge of scheduling and making sure that my store is properly staffed, this stuff should open my eyes. What's going on Wednesdays between 10 and noon that my phone call is not being answered enough? Do I have too many people off that day? Do I not have not enough people trained on how to answer the phones to help us out when it's busy like that? So that's what this can tell us, is when are those failed calls happening. And then this last thing just gives us an overall view of when our calls are coming in. When are we seeing those calls? What times, what days? And again, this can go a long way in helping you staff. So that's what we see on the dashboard. That's the main dashboard. Now, the other thing that you'll use this for, that we've always used for, is the call logs. So we can go to the menu, go to all calls. You can look at failed calls, but again, most of the time the failed calls are going to be nothing unless there was some kind of dialogue had before we put them on hold and they hung up on us. So most of the time, failed calls won't really tell you anything to try to listen to them. So let's go to all calls. So we can click on all calls, and now we'll see all of the calls that have come into the store. So we can filter this. We can use some of the canned filters, so we can sort by the newest. We can sort by status, call direction, the agent, if we have specific agents listed in here, things like that. We can use that, or we can use the search button. And this is what I know that a lot of stores used with the previous site, and I always recommended using as well, is to search by some keywords like appointments. Did the agent use the word appointments? Because that's our goal, right? Is get the appointment. We always train in telephone class the 3 W's. What are the 3 W's? Who called? What did they want? And when are they coming in? We've got to have an appointment. That answers the 3 W's, right? We'll get that information if we have the appointment. So what I've always recommended doing is going to the transcript and then typing in that keyword. Type in the word appointment, or maybe something like not today. Maybe we want to hear if our agent told a customer we can't do that today. So I type in not today. I click on the agent because that's who I want to hear. Are they the ones saying it? So then I hit go, and it filters all the calls where we hear the words not today. It's not always a bad thing, but it is a key indicator that we might be not gathering the appointments that we should be getting. So now what we see is basically about 2,800 calls out of that 71,000 calls that we can find out, that we can investigate the words not today and find out what their thinking was, and did we miss opportunities. So from this point, we can also do what we've always done, which is actually listen to calls. So you find a call that you want to listen to, you click on it. This is the call DNA, just like we saw it before. So light blue is the agent, the white up here is the consumer, and then the orange bars, that's your rings. And then the transcripts below follow along with the phone call, so you can kind of follow along reading as well as listening to what they have to say. So if I wanted to play the call, I just click here and I listen to that call through. And then this is where I get an opportunity to do one of two things, or both, is I can use this for coaching. So this gives me a great opportunity to make some notes, call in the gentleman or the young lady who took this call, who this call is, or call in the agent, the salesperson that this call belongs to, and I can have them listen to it and have them kind of critique themselves, and then we can compare our notes. Again, this is for coaching. It's not for beating people up. It's just for saying, hey, here's some opportunities. We want to get better. Let's get better as a group. The other thing that we can use this for is for saving sales. So if we didn't get that third W, the who, what, and when, if we didn't get that appointment, we can use this to call back our customer and try to win that appointment, win that customer into coming to us. So if we look at these and we identify some of these that we would love for our people to hear, we can actually create a playlist, or you can share. If you've got just a single one you want somebody to hear right away, you can share it via email. You can click on it, send it to them via email, and they open it up and they can listen to it. And again, if we're thinking about saving sales, the quicker we get to a customer, the quicker we get back to a customer with this, the better chance we've got of winning that sale and getting that customer in the door. All right? So that's just kind of a brief walkthrough of this new version of the Marchex tool. We'll create some more videos as we learn more about the system that get a little bit more into the analytics that will be helpful for you if you like. Thanks, and have a great day.